He's getting ready to start. You go.
What? And so, then we started off first was at the beginning of the classes by tradition of talking a little about a map of Palestine. And we're up to now with, in 1920, the British Mandate took 78% of the land because the British Empire, which captured the land from the Ottoman Empire, owed favors to the Hashemite Empire. So they took 78% of it and gave it to them.
There's plenty of room.
And you could see on the map, this was supposed to be all of the land they were giving back to us. But you can see this line over here.
Yeah.
All this area here, they separated out.
Jordan now.
You know, they called it Transjordan back in 1920 when they caused the separation. And then 1920, they decided this would definitely, the area they called Palestine, be the land for the Jewish people. And they decided all of this would go to Transjordan. They negotiated with the Hashemite Empire to take that and not take everything, and ratified it in the League of Nations in 1923. And most people these days seem to forget Israel existed before 1948. And even when you hear experts talking, that historians talking, they don't go back before 1948 talking about Israel, and they forget that we have a 3,000-year history with that land. That God promised it to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and to us also. And someday the world will wake up and give us back what's ours.
You know, something I didn't even realize this in my ignorance in a long time, but you know, the problems they're having, like Netanyahu's having all these problems, and they want to get him out and all that.
Mm-hmm.
I did not realize that anyone in the diaspora can vote in the Israeli elections.
So,
George Soros can be voting,
yeah,
basically. He can vote on it in Israel.
I have some.
So you got every liberal in the United States.
I'll bring it next week. The World Jewish Conference has their vote. I think it's coming up in March, and I have the website where people can look it up. And
so all those wackos out in Los Angeles and Hollywood, they're all voting against probably anything that makes any sense.
Right, and my question for them also is, since any Jewish person can vote, how do they know for sure the person voting is actually Jewish? So it's actually, in a way, maybe everyone can vote. But most people, fortunately, a lot of the ones that shouldn't be voting, fortunately, don't know about it. So
yeah, I never knew
we'll
that.
keep it
I
that
just
way.
learned about it just in the last week. I listened to somebody saying. Well, that's no wonder things are bad if people in the United States are voting for them.
I just heard about it last week too.
Mm-hmm.
Where'd you
At Hespermona, they had someone come and talk about it.
From somebody on the internet.
So next thing we start with is quotes. So my first quote for today, since we're just talking about Israel, is, "If you will it, it is no dream, and if you do not will it, a dream it is, and a dream it will stay." That was said by Theodor Herzl, the first Prime Minister of Israel in modern days. Next quote. "When people regularly do good deeds and acts of kindness, Hashem grants them opportunities for great merits, through which they earn life, honor, and everything good in this world and the next." That's from the Chofetz Chaim in Ahavat Chesed, who was one of the great lecturers and speakers. Next quote. "People are accustomed to look at the heavens and wonder what happens there. It'd be better if they would look within themselves and wonder what happens there."
Sometimes that's not so good a thing.
Yeah, it's not as much fun.
That was by Menachem Mendel of Kotsk, one of the founders of the Chabad movement. And last quote I had for this time When you waste a moment, you have killed, in a sense, squandered an irreplaceable opportunity. But when you use the moment properly, fill it with purpose and productivity, it lives on forever. That's another quote by another Menachem Mendel Schneerson, who was the last major leader of the Chabad movement, and who's the one that they still turn to and quote continuously, even though he passed away. I guess it was 94 or 99. I can look that up, but we'll do that another time. And so let's look at what we're going to do today. I couldn't get the numbers to stop bouncing.
That's kind of neat to catch it.
Okay, we're going to review the letters. And actually, we're halfway there through the alphabet. Almost halfway there right now. And next, we'll review the roots. If we go review all the words we've covered, we'd run out of time. So we're just doing the root words today. Because if you know the root, you know the tree. That tells you all the things that come from that root. And next, we're going to get to some new letters. We have 2 new letters to learn and 1 additional final letter to learn. We're also going to do some vowels. And we'll have some new words. So words and phrases, basically. We have some interesting twists coming up for some of them. And then, of course, the time for prayer is tefillah, prayer. And as most people do, we're going to come to conclusions. We're going to look over where we were, where we are, and where we're going. And today actually is the 5th class. The book has 10 lessons in it. So we'll start with the review. We'll make our way through the alphabet and the letters from each class. So these are the letters we've covered. I have it broken down by class. So who wants to read the letters from the first class? Okay, good. Tough, yeah. And then the second class, we added and Mepsafit. And then the third class, we added 2 more letters.
A and Resh.
Good. And in the 4th class,
Noon, final noon, Aleph, and Ayin.
very good. We're going to do some comparison on some of the letters in a little while. So far in the Hebrew alphabet, you can see how much of it we've covered. 10 letters: the Aleph, Bet, Hey, Lamed, Mem, Nun, Ayin, Resh, Shin, Tov. So with today's class, we're going to pass the halfway mark. So now we can just go over the roots, or say the foundations of things. So words we've covered. Okay, what does it mean? Complete. Shalom. What?
That doesn't.
Wholeness,
Wholeness, yeah,
Wholeness, like completeness.
and completeness. Shabbat is to cease or to rest. Shomer,
Shomer,
yeah,
to guard.
God protect.
Shema.
Shema, yeah,
Shema.
yes. What does that mean?
Listen, here,
Hear.
Yeah,
and do.
what? And the last one, what?
Natan.
Natan. And what does that mean?
A gift.
Gift, to give. Very good. So we went through the review rather quickly. And we're going to go over the letters now. So the first letter we have, Kaf, yeah. Kaf is the 11th letter of the Hebrew alphabet, makes it the number 20. It is like a cupped palm, and it's outstretched, ready to receive. It's shaped like a container or bowl, turned on its side. Hold things. And represents form. It contains all the life essence within us. 20. That's a 20. Cup is 20. Lamed thing. And forms the physical world. Of course, it's the first letter in Kesher, which in the 10th Sephirah of the Tree of Life, Kesher is the first Sephirah. The crown. And it's one where, because you can see in the shape that you are, this again, yeah. You can see you're bending the ego as we shape ourselves. Starts as that one spark. Any questions on Kaf? Okay, so let's move on. We're going to go to a final letter. This one is Kaf Sofit. It's a final letter. And it's our third final letter. It's the number 500. And just this, a little fact about Abraham was redeemed from Ur of the Chaldeans. God told him, go for yourself. Lech lecha. That's the two cuffs that are in there. And so if we went back and looked at what was said about Kaf, it's the crown, it's bending the ego. So when he told him to go for yourself, it was also telling him to let go of his ego and sort of discover who he is and create who he's going to be, the manner of speaking. And our second actual letter is Ket. And Ket is the 8th letter of the Hebrew alphabet. So I didn't write it there, but obviously if it's the 8th letter, it's also the number 8. It represents infinite possibilities and undifferentiated substance and energy. It gives the ability for us to rise above nature. It represents the neshama, the soul. If you think about the shape, everything raining down from heaven, all the possibilities and potential that's there. And the power to choose, as well as the qualities of charm and grace. Don't forget, because with infinite possibilities, you have to choose among those possibilities. And if you look at the Paleo Hebrew, it's shaped like a ladder, actually. And put down here, as we climb beyond nature into the spiritual realm. God created the heavens and earth in 6 days. On the seventh day, he rested. And they say on the eighth day, we looked at off the physical world that we're in and decided to rise above it as spirit. So that's part of what the number 8 represents, what a cat represents. That we rise above just being a part of nature. That's something that Hashem has instilled within us. Now,
Circumcision on the 8th day?
what?
Circumcision on the 8th day?
Yeah. That's one of the first steps in us taking our spiritual journey. And also we're too young to realize what's happened to us. So the letters we've covered so far, you have the Aleph, the 1. Bet, 2. Okay, what?
No, I said, I was counting, I just went Gimel next.
We didn't learn.
We didn't do Gimel.
We didn't learn Gimel yet. Be patient. We'll get to it eventually. I think a lot of us, from things we've been reading, are starting to recognize some of the other letters we haven't covered yet. At this point, that we're going to have some things with some of those letters coming up. And for the fun of it, no transliteration anymore.
Yeah, that's.
What? Cat? Yeah. We just said that one. Kaf. Lamed.
Yeah.
Mem.
Noon.
Nun. What? Ayin. Number 70. 16. Reish. Shin, yes. And Tav, yes. So we now, out of 22 letters, we've covered 12 letters.
Next chapter 5.
What? We're on chapter 5 now. And you'll notice in the new letters today, they all have the same sound. And then the Sofit, the final letters, we have Kaf Sofit, number 500. Mem Sofit, good. Number 600. And this one, Nun Sofit, yes. And number 700. So we have 2 more final letters, which will give us 800 and 900, but we'll get to those. And new vowels. What?
I struggle more with the vowels than anything.
Yeah. Well, if you struggle with them, we can go back to the traditional way it was written before, I think, the 2nd century, and just do away with the vowels for you.
There's times that's been easier.
In my class, I don't know. Yeah.
So,
But that's after you memorize a lot of words.
what?
That's after you memorize a lot of words before you can do it without it.
Well, actually, traditionally, the vowels are something that were added on, I think, around the 2nd century. So it's something to make it simpler for children.
And I can't even get it.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be an adult.
Yeah, it wasn't long
But-
until 9 because he gave us those common verbs.
Mhm.
And after that, you don't need them anymore.
Yeah, once you learn enough, you don't really need the vowels. So learn to recognize the signs of where the vowels are, and eventually we'll get to seeing the words without them. So the shuruk, you know what the sound is?
Ooh.
Ooh, yes. And the next vowel we're going to add today is going to be kibbutz. What?
Ooh, again.
Yeah.
That's 3 dots at an angle under the letter. And again, it's an ooh sound.
Ooh,
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of a,
it's the same as that one, ooh.
Yeah, they both have the same sound. So I'd say with,
you could say the one is an O and the other one's a U.
no, because actually the ooh and
Oh,
the,
it's above it.
Yeah.
see, the ooh and the o are actually attached to the letter vav in this case. So it's the placement of the dot that determines it
Oh,
to
yeah,
be an
yeah,
ooh, not
yeah.
the letter itself.
Yeah.
It's like basketball. Oh. and then
The dots are below it.
The
Right.
dots in this case, in
Would be below the letter.
most of them are below.
Here.
Here it's below, but last week we went over the O, and the O is actually, there's one where the dot is by itself,
Yeah.
another one where it's above the vav, and the vav has become silent then. But we haven't learned vav, so don't worry about that right now. Now you'll notice we have this, you notice this week we have all things that sound alike. The vowels sound alike, the letters sound alike.
Can't we just
And we're going to talk about letters that look alike now. Can you recognize the letters?
Go ahead.
Yeah. And what you'll notice on these, well, first let's bring the name up. The difference is, you notice the bet over here, this line sticks out a little beyond the top part. On the cuff, it's rounded. On the nun, it's like if you take the cuff and you make this round part straight, make it a little shorter. You still have that rounded shape, but it's more of a straight line over here. Short here, much shorter in width.
Almost like a Vav or a U with just a little,
It's,
Line
well, yeah,
underneath it.
it looks like a vav. If you take this line on the bottom out, then it would be a vav actually. But we haven't learned vav yet, so so I didn't put that one on here. And there are more letters that look alike.
hey, can't
The
tell.
one with the
Yep.
window without
Yeah, the hay
it.
has the
It has a
window up
window.
here. What?
It's a house has a window.
Yes.
A house without a window.
House without a window. Chet knows the tov.
That's got a sidewalk.
A house with a doorstep.
Yeah. Those are good ways of describing it. And since we're talking about letters that look alike, why stop there?
And then the final
Stuff, yeah,
and then noon, final noon.
yeah,
Resh.
great,
The middle one's the one I don't.
very good. Yeah, the difference here you see between the cuff and the doll is if you draw a line over here, see, traditionally when children learn to write in Hebrew, you're learning it and putting it in a box. The cuff goes below the box. So you see the dalet here, and if you extend it down over here, you have the cuff sofit. Yes.
I can ask the annoying question. So how
Yeah.
come it's not a dalet Sophie instead of a kuf? So it looks nothing like.
Because there is no final letter for dalet.
I know, but I'm just saying.
It
It
because
doesn't
it
look
looks
like a kuf
similar.
at all.
If some nuts for candy and nuts, we'd all be having a jolly old time.
That one bothers me more than anything because it doesn't look like it's.
How
That's a-
easy we digress.
Yeah. We'd have to,
You know, 22 years of annoyance at that letter.
Well-
I'm sorry.
no, we'd have to ask Moses that because he got it from the source.
Maybe you need to ask the Holy One, blessed be He
But
that.
Mhm.
this and then that, it's like.
Hmm?
It's not here.
Right. And you notice the vav and the nun, again, similar to the dal and the kaf sofit. The nun sofit goes below that line. It's extended down. Yes.
Is the rule of thumb there that most all the Sophies go below the line? Not all,
No,
well, the
men.
men
No.
doesn't.
The mem
Uh,
doesn't. The mem is like, takes a rounded mem,
I mean, it's
and
a
then it
complete
makes it
mem,
more
you might
square
say.
and it closes the top. So those are the letters that look alike, and you'll have to get used to seeing the subtle differences. Any other questions? No? So let's move on. We have new words. And with each word we grow a little more. Some of them are going to be new phrases, but we start with a new root word. The bet, the resh, and the kaf make up our new root word, which is bless. And from it we have awesome words like it was in the templates. I had to leave it in.
We can't even get the simple ones, yeah.
And since you kept mentioning the letter Gimel, if we covered Gimel, then we'd have Halegesh, the large. And
We have,
I'll hand this to you. Let you stretch a little. Oh, give me one sheet also.
I kept seeing, Gimel of the Ayin. I had dyslexia upside down.
Yeah. The Gimel also looks a little like a nun, but we didn't learn Gimel yet, so we're not going to discuss that. We have some sheets going around. It's the sheet that's up on here. There's some for you to take home and work on. It's actually in the textbook also. That's something you can either make copies or write on without destroying your book. Okay. So let's start with some phrases, which are on the sheet actually. There's Birchat Hamazon. What? Sorry, I was on the wrong page. Baruch haba, which is blessed is he who has come. Another one. Baruch haba. You know what this one means? What? Yes. Blessed is she who has come. So it was starting to get into a little here is that the Hebrew language, similar to the French language, has gender. There are words that are masculine, there are words that are feminine. And I hope it doesn't upset anyone, but there are only two genders in Hebrew. So I know there are some people out there that would get very upset and say we have to rewrite the language because of that, but we're not going to do that.
So in the, basically the noun and the verb have to match gender, correct?
What?
The noun and the verb have to match gender?
I'd say generally yes.
Not always, but.
Not always.
Okay.
We're going to get to some exceptions, I'm sure, in this book, and if we go on to the next one, which we'll probably be discussing the next week or two, if we're going to. In that case, there are some cases where we don't. When we talk about God, we have some subtleties that go on. The word El is feminine singular, but when we say Elohim, the im is a masculine plural. So we have masculine and feminine combined within God's name. What? Yeah.
Just makes me
Yeah.
see that God's neither masculine or feminine, he's God.
Well, I would say that he's neither masculine nor feminine. I would say he's beyond duality.
Yeah, Yeah,
The duality happens as things filter down into the physical world. And the phrase that I had a phrase that's used also, will be adding the Hebrew phrase to some of the services coming up, Mishabera, which is, may the one who blessed. Now, traditionally in a synagogue, there's prayers that are said for people who have an illness or going through some health issue or other problems in their life. And the prayer that's recited for them is called the Mishaberach. Where basically we're saying, he who has blessed, may he bring blessings to you. I'm not going to sing it now. I'm trying not to get my tooth to act up again. So now let's add some other words. Now we have Birkat Hamazon. I jumped the gun on it before. And that is grace after meals, which we'll see if we can, Kelly, when he does the Friday night Onex, just add some of the Hebrew parts of that. The blessing at the end of the meal. We have Varach, yes, good. Which is blessed or blessed. We have Berech. Now this one you have to think about. Berech means knee.
Bending?
Yeah. Because traditionally when you did a blessing to a prayer, it's traditionally not just Baruch atah Adonai, it's Baruch atah Adonai. So the first part of the blessing is bending the knee. Sometimes you have to think a little about how the connection works with some of the words when you get to the root. They say that's why the knees are designed that way. There's some animals with the knees actually designed backwards from ours. And some people say when God created the human body, he let his assistant design the knee, but we're not going to get into that. Okay, next word. With this berech. And that is to be blessed.
Did you say that again, Mike?
With berech. Yeah. I'm trying not to use the Ashkenazic pronunciations because it would be different.
Hard enough to learn one.
Yes, I know. That's right. I would say in a way you have it a little easier because you didn't grow up with the other way of pronouncing it all your life.
That kind of makes us equal. We're learning Hebrew and you're learning the other pronunciation.
Yeah, that's true. And there's a lot of Hebrew that I forgot over the years because I never was good with languages, so this is my chance to relearn it too.
so we've got this next one.
Okay.
Wait a minute, I don't have that sheet.
Okay. Next.
Bar-
Berecha.
Is this,
Berecha.
this one, on the paper, it has a helis under the cup.
What?
Berecha.
On the paper, it has a helis under the cup.
Yeah, it doesn't have the talk
It'd be
under the cough, but
for key.
I think it was just didn't get printed. very
Okay.
well.
Yeah, it's not very clear.
Like a helis.
Let me go back to the book and see how they wrote, because it could also be different ways of writing it. Yeah. Just bear with me a minute while I go back a few pages. Okay. Berecha. Yeah, I have it the way it's in the book. On this.
It should be a
I'll have to do some checking to see if they're both applicable,
That should be
but
some answer.
a pool or a pond. Now, why do you think this would come with the root berech, bless? Well, the modern day interpretation would be
Mikveh.
go outside in this weather. You're going to want a pool or a pond when you go outside in this weather.
It'd be a blessing, wouldn't it?
Yes. Now take it a step further. You're a nation of people wandering through the desert. A pool or a pond, a source of water, is a blessing.
Yeah, like that first stop, what was it called? The one with all the palm
Oh,
trees?
with all the palm trees and the Elim
Elim.
had 70 palm trees and there.
And our next word, berechiyah, which is something that's a sign that water is nearby.
That's probably why it's.
What?
That's why this had
That could be.
a here under.
But you know what this word is?
I don't have that word.
Berechiyah. No?
It's not on our sheet, so I'm gonna.
Keep our visuals though.
I was wondering about the ducks. I love ducks.
Well, the ducks, there's a few reasons they're here.
I like plastic ducks. Real ducks are
Yeah.
real nuisance. Oh, no.
So,
Beyond imagination.
We have ducks, they're here for a few reasons. One is I knew there'd be less people in the class, so we had to fill the
I
classroom.
have one in my tub.
Another is because,
You got one more, you got.
oh, okay, I should have planned better. Now, it's berechiyah is a duck or a mallard, because they would help guide you to where the water was.
Now, is that one in the book? Because it wasn't on my book.
That's in the book.
So there's ducks in Israel?
Oh,
I'd imagine so. Now, interesting thing with ducks. They came to visit because my wife collected ducks. We have a lot of them are still in a box somewhere, but we have about 200 of them in the house. All different. And I guess the reason she was collecting them is berechiyah, berech. She was collecting blessings.
oh.
And that's why the next picture I put on was today actually is the 30th of Sivan, which is the actual Jewish day that my wife passed away last year. And for those who were at the memorial, you may have noticed that on the headstone, we have ducks.
I saw the rocks, but didn't see the ducks.
What?
I saw the oh, those ducks.
Yeah, we have 2 ducks there.
Oh,
So, another symbol for blessings, which is a better explanation. And again, we have the larch. And I get to this, so a better explanation for the ducks was when someone asked me why we put ducks on the headstone, I didn't have a reason, so I just said, well, we're crackers for God. But this gives a much better explanation that on some level she was planning this out and I didn't know.
she was playing what?
She was planning this out, but I didn't know with all the ducks and with the root of duck being blessing. So another thing we're going to talk about next, unless there are questions.
How does that, your piece, how is it pronounced?
What?
It looks like Shalom Mecca.
Shalom Echa.
Or Shlompa? No.
Shlomecha.
Shalom
I just
Echa.
know that the M has the E vowel with it and.
No, it's an E, not an E.
Shlomecha.
She,
That's it. Shit.
lo, me, cha, or cha. I tend to go for the O sound. With a kaf, when it's a suffix, adds the word yor. So we'll go from shalom to shalomecha, peace to your peace. Just like in the previous class, I don't know if we really talked about, but the letter hey, when you add it to the beginning of a word, it becomes the word the. So you have like Torah and HaTorah, the Torah. And prefixes and suffixes, there are a few of them that we're going to talk about as the class goes on.
Now, does it always have, oh, I'm sorry, does it
So-
always have the,
There are,
in the middle, yeah?
now there are different vowels that could be there.
But it still means your,
Yes, it's the letter that makes, it's the kaf sofit at the end that makes it the word your.
Shaneka?
Shem and shemecha, name in your name. Okay,
is it Shemecha or Shema? Shemecha.
shemecha, no, it's the right over here under it. That's why we still need the vowels at times. And one more, Torah secha and Torah. Torah, your Torah.
What would you mean by that?
What?
What would you mean by that, if you're gonna say your Torah?
When you're talking to God.
Oh,
Thank
oh,
you
okay.
for
I
giving
thought
us
you were,
your Torah.
okay, I was thinking like you're talking to individuals, like, oh, that's your Torah, this is
Oh.
my
You
Torah.
could say the Torah.
You can get one on eBay. And then you can say it literally. We could say it literally.
Who is given to us your Torah. And
Yes.
then you would basically see that word right there.
Yes.
I did notice it has the
What? The
the shed, what do you call the little ball?
I forget the names of the vowels.
Me too, because my teacher said he didn't use them, so.
Yeah.
It has the E, it has the E sound. to
No,
it.
it's an S
Like
sound.
a shed.
What?
It's an S sound.
Oh,
F.
okay.
The E is two
Bowling ball
dots
and
next to
shed.
each other.
That's how my teacher taught it.
Okay.
Bowling ball shed. Put your
Mhm.
bowling ball in the sheds. I remembered it.
What's the bowl?
Huh?
Why-
It has, a bowling ball has 3 holes.
Oh.
Yeah.
So that's how, he teaches 7-year-olds.
I'm thinking the round, the ball.
Oh,
He teaches 7-year-olds, and so that's how you remember it, is your bowling balls in the shed. So I always, I've never forgotten.
Yeah.
I get that.
okay.
The 3 dots means eh.
And we have one more
Can
example.
you explain a little how you get the second top in that
What?
Torah? The battle, your Torah, where it has the second top.
Torah secha?
Yeah, how
For a
that,
second.
is there a rule why you added the second top in there?
Well, when you have,
Why wouldn't it be just Torah, or, I mean, how they get Torah Teka?
That I don't know.
Okay, hold on that
So, like,
screen, I'm gonna take a
that-
picture.
Gonna
if
be,
you were gonna say like God's Torah, you could say Torah Hashem. So the T is like of, so the Torah of God. So it's like the Torah of you.
okay, it just didn't know why that got put in there like that.
I can't write that.
There are some subtleties we're going to get to. And then one more example. Belechet, Belectica. When walking, when you are walking. I could throw her off by going to the next slide while she's trying to take the picture.
Sorry, I can't write that fast.
Okay. Well, this is in the book.
Well, just double. This
Okay.
is new to me, and I've been taking
Yeah.
it for a long, long, long time, and there's a, yeah, so, it's cool.
Okay.
I do, at the end of class, we're gonna ask a question, right?
Yeah, ask questions.
Can I ask it now?
Yeah, what's your question?
all
I may not know the answer,
Okay.
but you can ask.
When you do the blessing,
Yeah,
Shachom Niyah B'Davaro,
yeah.
why is there an O on the end? Devar being the word, Bay in the word, but what's the O?
I'm not sure on that.
Well, maybe we'll come to it one of the books.
It could be one
It
of the,
drives me crazy.
yeah.
The root of those 2 words is let, is that,
Yeah, you have
I mean, walking?
lechet.
Lecha?
Leket?
You know the
Yeah, look at,
portion
Okay.
Lecha?
Okay. So it's a 3-letter root.
yeah. Most of the roots are 3 letters. We may
Yeah.
hit some that are 2 at some point, but most of the roots are 3-letter roots. And later, when we get comfortable with the 3-letter roots, we'll find times when we take a word that has a 3-letter root and only use 2 of the letters.
But there's an implied yo or hey sometimes.
Yeah.
Okay, could you pronounce that one when you were walking?
Belechet,
Say it again.
Belechet,
Belechet.
yes.
My ears are stopped up. I'm sorry.
And this is Belechtikar,
Belechet.
yeah.
That's so pretty.
And the Belechtikar you'll see in some of the prayers.
Sheila, when we go walking.
In the Shema, you have the word Belechtikar in there. Belechtikar, Hadera. Yeah,
Well, generally, halakha means the way to walk,
Mhm.
but it doesn't have a top in it, does it? It's,
we're using a different word in that case. It has different rules.
so it's just a spin off of leket.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then we have it as a prefix, which means as or like. I couldn't get this to highlight the K part with the yellow, so I'm just pointing it out with the pointer. Ein Keloheinu. We have there is none like our God, or none as our God. You have the cuff there, adding that word.
Sort of like key.
And the Ein Keloheinu prayers, you have that throughout almost every line. Ein Keloheinu, Ein Kadomeinu, Ein Kimalkeinu, Ein Moshienu.
Okay, pronounce that one more time.
Ein Keloheinu.
A.
It's one of the prayers. Ein Keloheinu. Ein Kadomeinu, Ein Kimalkeinu. There are lots of tunes.
Yeah, I
There
know
are
the
some
end
funny
part is the
tunes.
beginning part that I was.
Don't ask me. I sing one.
Yeah. Which one are you going to sing?
I don't.
Yeah, okay. I'm gonna try to get you to do one. And people put this Ein Keloheinu into all tunes. Like there's the Banana Boat song. There's the tune of Gilligan's Island.
Oh, no.
Wait a
That
minute.
sounds like, I mean,
You can have lots of
Down
fun with
Along.
this one with different melodies.
They do so many like that.
Yeah.
But I'm looking at that right there, and the cough is not a cough Sophie.
No, because it's a prefix, not a suffix. I mean, it's a
Oh,
suffix,
okay.
not a prefix. Pre is at the beginning, suffix is at the end.
I got you.
So that's
Okay.
why this one is as or like, whereas the other one was you or yours.
That's what I love about Hebrew. It's so easy because, like, you take the word
I
bereshit,
don't know. It's-
one word, and you add the beginning, add stuff on the end, you get a whole sentence.
Hmm.
I love that. It's so efficient. Of course, God's like that.
Okay, any questions? So just a reminder, the large,
Something to put the vowel in.
What's the large?
you have to go and watch Monty Python.
I've never watched them.
Okay.
It's on my test.
And we have some new prayers. So we can get more complicated. This one, keep going, yeah. This is one we do in the service every week,
I'm a Barak.
yeah.
Baruch, Adonai.
Yeah.
Baraka,
Amvara.
Amara. Leolam Bayada.
Yeah,
Leolam.
That is it, Leolam?
that's it, yeah. Baruch Hu Adonai Hamvarach, Baruch Adonai Hamvarach, the Olam Va'ed.
It's been up there every week.
Well, I've been
Yeah.
saying that for 22 years. I
Yeah,
just don't read it because I didn't read it back then.
I'm trying to give everyone a chance to see how well they'll do with these without the transliteration under the words.
Oh, I hate the
That
translation.
would be
Yeah.
hard.
Me too.
But I've heard it for
Yeah.
22 years, and I didn't know Hebrew when I started.
Yeah,
You just, and there's some I see somebody will like put it there, and it's like, oh, that's what that said. That's
Yeah.
not what I've been saying. I
okay.
apologize to God all the time just in case I said something and it meant something really different.
So this is one that you should all be familiar with.
Yeah, I'd have trouble with like that, if I didn't have the translator, is that Baroque? Or is
That's
that
Baruch.
You know, I mean, without you wouldn't know if it's
Baruch,
Baroque or
that's
Baruch.
Baruch,
Baruch.
Baruch,
No, I meant in the second one.
Oh, yeah,
Baruch,
Baroque or Baruch.
Baruch,
It could
yeah.
be either one.
Baruch.
But
But
would
you
know
have
by-
if you
the,
didn't
you have
have
the
the-
resh and the o.
you would know by the context.
That's what I mean, without the vowels in there, I'd have trouble with knowing if it's Baroque or Baruch. Normally it's Baruch, but
So the next one is Barak.
Yeah,
Which,
that's Baruch
Well,
and Baruch. See,
well, no, the
the
next
bet, Ray,
is a O.
Hamivo,
Oh, that
Hamvo
one.
Ra.
well, that's what I was saying. If you could mix those two up if you didn't know the context or
Yeah.
the word.
You know,
Oh,
if
You
you
hear it
didn't
te-
have the
here it
vowel
has
points,
a-
you'd be really messed up.
Here it has a suffix on it, Hamvo Ra. Because I definitely haven't heard anything like Hamvo,
but
Hamvo,
when you
Ru.
see that, you'll be in a
how-
context where
Yeah.
it would
Yeah.
be said, and so you would know
Yeah.
what it should be.
I never even knew that was the same word.
Yeah,
It's like the Hamabara,
you have the Ham at the beginning of Varach, Hamvo
but they know.
The root is the bet rich, red cuff.
Normally you'd know them by context, but there could be words, there could be words where you didn't, if you didn't know the word,
There
it could go
could be.
either way. It could be a whole vowel or it could be a shurek.
There are cases where you get into things where you have to, where you start to get to know the context, and this context, it helps determine what way it goes.
Yeah, that's the number one rule in Hebrew.
Yeah, it's all about context.
Yeah.
But we're starting off simple.
That's
Don't
another
look at
reason
more
why I
complicated.
like the consistency.
Yeah,
It's always the same, and that's why when people change, like these new versions that change blessings, it's very annoying because the consistency is so important.
mhm.
And that's, just change the blessings. Yeah. There's some of the blessings in some of the newer versions that they're rewording the blessings. Very,
Haven't come across that.
well,
At least they haven't done that Hesperomuni yet.
they do it all the time. It's because the tree of life, its blessings are completely different than ours.
Tree of Life, is that one of the other messianic groups you're referring to?
No, we
Well,
do here.
that's-
We do some of the blessings here from the tree of life version. Maybe we did at the beginning. I don't know. But yeah, because they're worded totally different. Because we used to always use like the art scroll version type.
Yeah,
They always sounded exactly the same everywhere I ever went. And then all of a sudden there's been new
Well, I
ones.
mean, for instance, these words
It drives me
that I am commanding you this day, the
Yeah.
Tree of Life version has these words I am giving you this day.
okay, the English
So is it
translation
the
is a
Hebrew
lot
that's
to play
different,
with.
or just the translation?
I don't know. I'll have to look.
Because I mean, any translation will vary from.
Yeah,
translator to
I mean,
translator.
you know, they're translating the Hebrew,
Yeah,
of course,
right,
and, you know,
But
the word I believe in the Hebrew means command.
yeah, but
And that doesn't, you know, if it meant giving,
It's not a
it would,
suggestion.
I have an app
That's
that
why
has
Gary
about
has the Tree of Life
200
version, because
different
it makes sense.
Bibles,
Like a Hebrew
translations, and it's amazing the differences in the translations, but
Yeah.
what it starts with, the Hebrew is still consistent.
Right.
It's just that what they're trying to say, is what changes. And some take a lot of liberty in how they translate it, which is why it's important to get back to the original language.
and maybe they just translate it that way because they understand that the Torah is a gift, and it is.
Yeah.
It's a gift of eternal worth.
Yeah,
But it's not a suggestion. A commandment is a very firm.
right.
You will, not, you might want
Some-
to.
And some translations are done for political reasons also, I'd hate to say.
Yeah. Well, everybody has an agenda, even if it's good in their heart. So
Yeah. And sometimes when you go to the literal translation, it just doesn't make sense when you take
I
something
loved it.
into
My
English.
first group we had literal, it's one from Israel. I don't know
Yeah.
if you've seen it, but it was a word for word literal, and it was wonderful. I loved it. It was a little awkwardish, but it was.
Yeah, it can get awkward because the grammar is different. You have to get used to the different grammatical,
But it was very
grammatic
clear.
contexts. So let's move on to the next one. Who could read that? What? Who can read it with the melody? Malachi Hashal. Yo. Imelech Malachi Hamloch. HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Very good. There's no transliteration. Jamie can't sing everything in Hebrew. I think we'd remember it a lot better.
I learned it from my first teacher. They were Israel,
Yeah.
and she sent it on my phone,
hmm
and it took me forever to learn it.
This has been added to the Friday Night Onets, right? Shalom Aleichem. Yeah. So this is just one part of it, so you can see how he's trying to get more familiar with the Hebrew. Yes. Yes. Yeah. So I have another one that you may not be as familiar with. Big enough to read. The EX is a little small on my screen. Want to try
Come on,
reading
Kahili,
it?
you can do it.
I can barely see it.
Huh?
I can barely see it.
Okay, see if I can. I don't know if I can make it better, unfortunately. Yeah. When you read it, you'll know what it is once you start read a few words of it. Tobianecho levorech esam for Yisrael, v'kol esav v'kol shah bishlomecha, v'chtodnoi amavarech esamos Yisrael v'shalom. It's the blessings on the Haftarah. This is the last part of the blessing.
In the beginning, your acts to bless your people Israel at all times. At all times.
Do you pronounce that word for the eyes, your eyes,
But
yeah, your eyes, is it fine, fine, fine?
Beto b'einecha levorech es amcha Yisrael
No, just the second word, say that again, that one.
b'einecha
Ba'in, ba'in,
b'einecha.
Ba'ineka.
Yeah.
I hear the ayin in there.
There's a yud there, so you have the yosef b'einecha.
Ba'ineka.
it's just a hard one to work out when you read it.
Yeah.
If they went really slow, that's what I love about YouTube, is I found the little slow it down thing.
Yeah.
And they can talk like,
Mm-hmm. Or you can get the chipmunk sound.
uh,
Or you can go with the chipmunk sound. Speed it up.
oh yeah, sometimes you do that with some people.
So
Okay,
anyone
so
want to
they
go?
dramatic people.
Anyone want to try this? Just the Hebrew. You're not included. You know it.
Say what?
Anyone want to try reading it?
Beethoven.
Beto
Fine.
yenecha levorech es amcha et amcha
Floor. How do you say that one?
amcha. Yeah.
Amka,
There's the ayin which is silent with the ah. The mem, the vowel was silent under it, and the cha at the end. The kaf selfie with the or.
Omnecha.
Amcha.
There's some extra in there.
Amcha.
Amcha.
Yeah.
Israel.
This is one of the cases where the vowel was silent.
Amcha.
Amcha. And maybe next week we'll go back over some of those rules.
Big ol'
We'll call
ot,
8,
eight,
8,
eight,
we will call,
big ol'.
we will call
Shah.
Too
Shah.
big, though. I need a magnifying.
Bishlomecha.
Shalom. Shalom.
Mecha.
Bishlomecha.
Facial mecha.
Yeah. Then the blessing, Baruch atah Adonai, Hamavarech es amo Yisrael b'shalom. You look and see if you could find it in the book.
Yeah.
Okay. No, the blessings before and after the Haftarahs, I don't think are in most of the prayer books.
Yeah, it'd be easier. You could see it closer to you.
Yeah.
My glasses
It's
only
in the
work up
book.
close.
The book doesn't show the translation, but you can go over it in the book and review it.
What page is that?
Somewhere in the early 50s, I believe, or late 40s.
45.
Before my time.
45? Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And then the book is the next one also. Mhm. And I see. What? Akol Adonai Eloheinu Anachnu Modim Lo Umevarachim Osor Yisbarach Shemcho B'fi Kol Chai Tomid Li'olam Va'ed Baruch Atah Adonai Mekadesh HaShabbat.
It's part of the kitchen.
She knows it already, she's cheating.
What was the first one?
Al.
Oh, okay.
Al.
The, it.
Hakol, here you see the O, it's just the dot up there.
Oh, okay.
Al Hakol Adonai Eloheinu Anachnu Modim Loch Umevorachim Osor Yisbarach Shemcho B'fi Kol Chai Tomid Yolam Va'ed. This one you may have to just look at the book and go over it a few times.
These are all excerpts from the
From the,
Amen, aren't they?
yeah. That's the end of the Haftarah. Yeah, the one before was actually from Sim Sholem. I made a mistake of my reference. But this is the end of the Haftarah reading.
Okay.
Yeah. Which we don't do this blessing at this time during the services, but we'll get to it in time.
So Mikdash Hashem.
Al Hakol Adonai Eloheinu Anachnu Modim Loch Umevorachim Osor Yisbarach Simcha B'fi Kol Chai Tomid Liolam Bo'ed Baruch Atah Adonai Mekadesh HaShabbat. Yes, no?
The sanctuary of Shabbat.
System.
Yeah, for everything, O God, we thank you and bless you. May your name be blessed by all who live forever and ever. Blessed are you, our God, the temple of Shabbat.
So our God is the temple of Shabbat.
Yes.
Cool. Because he says, I will be to you,
The sanctuary.
yeah, the,
Mikdash.
No, the one that we used to, our name used to be before we changed.
So we have the physical temple, which represents the true temple, the manner of speak.
Yeah, Mayat Mikdash, okay.
Okay, anyone have any questions on anything?
Because he says, I will be to you a sanctuary in all the places I've scattered you. That's the Mayat Mikdash.
Yeah.
So interesting.
And there's a book that I remember reading that basically considered the Shabbat a sanctuary in time.
Yeah.
Yes.
Whereas you have a sanctuary in space,
Yeah.
the temple,
Right.
but Shabbat is a sanctuary in time.
Yes.
I've heard that.
Do what?
I've heard that too. I'm like,
And there's an interesting connection between the two, too.
Yes.
Because like even in our physical, you can have something happen to you that's not, doesn't touch you, but it can still be a physical experience.
And they represent the true temple, which is beyond time and space.
Absolutely. Yeah, the things that are beyond time and space are the feasts. That spirit, God.
Do you want me to read the translation from?
What?
You want me to read the translation from the Siddur?
Your translation? Sure.
So that's like the second half of a blessing. So it starts out with, for the Torah, for divine worship, for the prophets, and for this Sabbath day that you have given us, Lord our God, for sanctity and rest, glory and beauty. And then this is where this starts. For all these, Lord our God, we thank you and bless you. May your name be blessed in the mouths of every living being, continually, forever and ever. Blessed are you, Lord, who sanctifies the Sabbath.
I was going to say, I've heard that a lot.
Yep. I couldn't. At the time when I decided to add this in, I didn't have a lot of time because Shabbat was coming up. But originally, these last parts, I was just going to have
I'm
everyone read from the
impressed that you
book.
get any of this done. I'm
What?
like, wow.
And
I'm not taking this up.
so I had limited time before Shabbat began to didn't
That's
have
so
time to go
creative.
look it up, so I used something
You
that
have good
created
taste.
translation
Yeah, no,
and
You could be an artist.
But it's just an
It can be.
example of how the Hebrew is the same. The translation may
Yeah.
vary depending on who translates it. So,
yes,
but when you get back to the Hebrew, it's the same.
Unless it's Ashkenaz. Okay.
Yes.
No, but you're right. The Hebrew's still the same. They
Well, that's just the
Yeah.
pronunciation.
Yeah.
Although I do have some Sephardic Siddurim, and they are different. They're different orders, some
Yeah.
additional, some we take out, but the gist of it is the same.
yeah, the important things are the same.
Mhm.
So we're up to reviewing. What?
My short-term memory is hard too.
right.
Okay, so we now have 12 letters.
And these words shall be on your parts.
Yeah, but they don't count as 12 letters because some of them are final.
No, there's 3 more. There's 3 final letters in
Yeah, but I
addition.
mean, of the 22,
Yeah.
they're not finals. They're only,
Those are the regular letters. Then of the 5 final letters, we have 3 so far.
okay, so that means instead of 12, we have 9 plus 3.
So 15.
No, we have 12 plus 3.
12 actual letters plus the 3.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
12 letters plus 3 final letters
Okay.
so far.
But this is cool.
And this is the 5th class, so we're at the halfway point, so there are 10 in the book. It's suggested to have next week be a review class.
That'd be a good idea.
Okay,
We missed class 1.
so instead of, well, I was going to say instead of going to the book, we're going to do a review, but actually doing the review is going to the book.
That'd be good. I'll be
Yeah.
a chance to catch
Yeah.
up with lesson 5.
Yes, and we may do it instead of just looking over what does this word mean. I may have some games in there.
My flashcards.
What? No, I was thinking of something like Jeopardy. What? You can pick which one it is you want. We'll have categories. So next week's will be a little different. and gives you a month to go back and go through all 5 classes and see what you forgot.
When is the next class?
It's the
Um,
first of the month each
the
time.
first Shabbat of the month, I don't,
Offer not on.
it's next month.
4 weeks. When next
Can't be the 27th.
7th is the last.
So which month are we talking about?
It's August, I guess.
August 3rd,
Third.
yes.
I was thinking I knew 27th is Shabbat, so third.
Is the 27th when you're doing the reading?
This is scary.
You're gonna read from the Torah?
Yeah, he's doing the Torah reading.
Oh,
I did the Torah reading last week.
really?
Yeah,
Oh,
so anyone have any questions? And the answer's okay, so I guess I don't know if there's any ones after the next one, but once again, we have the watch. Okay, and a reminder, we are to be a light for the world. I talked about that a little in the Haftarah. And some additional facts about Jewish people. And off with, we're based on the Torah, so we're called the people of the book. We began as slaves, so we have humble beginnings. Shabbat is God's gift to the Jewish people, which poses the question, what gift will you give in return? And then the temple, the synagogue, is where we create a space for the Lord. And of course, there is just one and only one God. I had to make that bigger. And Israel is the land given to us by God and will always be our land. Okay. So, thank you for coming. Next class will be fun games and review. So review what we've covered up to now and be prepared